Hey, okay, so based on the title of this video that you guys seeing right now, well, this is going to be one of the most difficult videos I will ever make for this channel, obviously. And if you all don't know who I am, I'm basically a random server moderator from the TCL Tiny Challenge list for the game Geometry Dash. And I'm here to discuss about the future of TCL and the updates of it. So I'm pretty sure you might be thinking that the list will shut down or something. However, it will not, and it will not happen yet. The thing is, the worst situation has ever happened in our history of TCL, and it was the most saddest thing that we have ever seen when coming to it. And we had no choice but to say that Ducky is no longer the owner of TCL for now. However, he didn't do a forced ban vote. He just left by himself because he instantly regretted what he actually did, and it's all based on this dark humor stuff that he has done. But it wasn't him yet. It was also Jammy as well. He was the first one to ever be caught up by a situation of doing the dark humor stuff, and Ducky called him out. But when Ducky was caught also doing the same thing what Jammy did, we were obviously disappointed and not surprised of what he has done, which not only at him, but also Jammy as well, even though he did get modded from server game manager. For Ducky, he gave up on himself from doing the list, leaving Finney being the only owner left in that list. A miserable breakdown. So to give out a story, we'll just rewind backward about what just actually happened, so then you guys will know a bit about the drama of what caused this whole stuff to happen. But just to let you know, I'm also involved with this stuff as well, given the fact that I have made an unexpected and stupid thing in that server. All this was like before, by the way, and it was already handled well. And I'll leave this announcement right there, the announcement in the TCL Discord server. And, so then it kind of like explains a lot of things about why I did, and why I was demodded from server moderator and all that sort of stuff. Just basically raising my voice at Ducky and Jammy, due to a lot of situations that drama like happened around like two servers which I'm in, the TCL and CCL. So maybe this can tell you all a lot of things about what has really happened in the past. So if you want to take a bit of a pause and if you want to read it, then here's that screenshot still. About what I said in the TCR. So maybe then you'll get the point about what has happened in the past. But yeah, I did already apologize to Ducky about what I've actually did. But I didn't even know how to apologize to Jammy though. I was a bit worried how he would react when I'm here or something. Obviously, I didn't want an argument again, given the fact that, that previous day when I was like, arguing at them is, obviously it was kind of like very much more stressful, and I had to like handle things also the most. So, I kind of wish I was like calm when also talking to them. Could have been handled much more perfectly if I wasn't like, very much more angry or something like that. But by that time, I was like, fogged down, stressed. So I wouldn't just like understand anything about what just happened a bit. But, so I did tell Ducky about like, everything and why I did was much more regretful and everything like that. But by the time when I was like talking to him and like apologized to him and everything, he did accept my forgiveness, to be honest. But then after that, he basically just showed me some of the things that I didn't actually know what actually happened by the time when I was like demoted or something. And that's when Jammy kind of like did some things which was kind of obviously very weird, but also more likely wrong. So I'm just going to show in the video based on what Ducky told me back then. So what you see right there is a video showing all the logs based on what happened in the TCL Discord server, which I, recorded this for this video, to be honest. And those all happened in the list completions channel back then. So basically, if you all don't know what's happening there, Jammy was trying to submit his records on him completing some of the levels he has done for the Tiny Challenge list. And based on the completions that he has uploaded onto Metal.tv, two of the administrators who work on the server, sad and Beliter, looking up at Jammy's completions when realizing that something doesn't even look right based on what he has done. So what they just did is that they compared the other level and his completions when they found out that he has nerfed some of the gaps for him to like pass, and just so then he could just get away with this. They knew they weren't crazy when talking about this to Jammy. When they dug in a bit further, Jammy knew he was done for. And so then he tried to act more confused, act like he didn't even do all that stuff, Humpty Dumpty, Whoopsie Daisy, all that kind of shit. And then he had no choice but to surrender himself, telling them to like list ban him or something. He surrendered himself and he knew what he actually done was obviously kind of wrong. But if he actually did that, why would you actually still try and get away with this? You do know that what you're still doing right there is guilty. And that is just still like trying to make yourself look bad. And keep in mind, the reason why I'm talking about this is because he used to be the server game manager and administrator at that time. So I don't even understand why he had to cheat his way through just to get away with all this stuff. But it's good that our administrators found out about this easily. Otherwise, if Jamie continued these kinds of malicious completions, he could get away with this easily without anyone else knowing of what he did. But the thing is, no one else in this list is stupid. They know how to check records, they know what goes wrong or right. Which I still think reviewing them slowly is very much more important than just trying to accept them more quick. But anyways, after all this stuff died down, they kind of moved forward a bit, and then the administrators continued accepting records and whatever. The thing is that I also want to say is that Ducky and Finney, who are the owners of TCL, they would never do something like this, including our administrators and myself. Because if we do something like this shows a red flag of ignoring the rules based on this whole list, the submission requirements. There would be much more serious drama if this would at least happen in the worst case scenario. Because if they would do something like that, why would the list exist? But at least it's just one person, but still not good at all, since they worked for our moderation team. So I did not really appreciate about what Jamie actually did. However, I do appreciate Duck showing me this because I didn't know that was going to happen. And yes, after a whole yap about the past situation we all had, he decided to remod me back as server moderator since I did own up my actions and also another reasoning the fact that what Jamie did. And so after that, I continued doing the same thing for the server, trying to do estimations and pending placements for the tiny challenge list, but also getting frustrated over the fact that that I get unmodded and remodded and unmodded remodded. I don't know. It happens repetitively for a reasoning, but I didn't even like what was just actually happening there. But it didn't happen anymore. I'm not gonna explain about it. It's just a bit of a serious thing. It's just a long story. But what I could tell is that it's just the same thing. People thinking about why I still did and something like that. And yeah, the thing is, they didn't even know that I apologized and everything like that. Some would know, some didn't. But things could come worse a bit, almost. However, all of this was over by and sorted out. But then a few days later, a different situation once happened again. And yes, of course, it's Jamie. But this time, he did something overall unthinkable and purposefully bad, which resulted him to not be a server game manager and administrator anymore, or also be in the list and Discord server as well. That was back then. At that time, Dougie made an announcement exposing Jamie, and that there's also proof of what Jamie was saying to another person. So I want to show in this video what it looks like. So this is what we have right here, and this is all taking place in the announcements channel of the TCL Discord server. And back in 21st of December, this is what Ducky said. CJ909, also known as Creeper Jammy 909, or Jammy as we call him for short, has been banned for borderline bullying and hating on one's religion. Reminder, do not harass people for any reason whatsoever, even if the person you're harassing has been a dick to you. Forwarding screenshots soon. And yeah, just to say, Jammy did actually do that, which is horrible. So I'm just going to show you what the proof looks like, which is at the next message. So these are proof screenshots of what Ducky has sent in the announcements channel, showing Jammy in a different server being much more ridiculous and insulting MJ Ninja, who is also a TCL server member. So in the first screenshot, we can see Jammy messaging MJ Ninja in the server, constantly mentioning him about the rules. He said to MJ Ninja that the rules are fucking shit, and no one's gonna fucking join this fucking server because no one gives a fucking shit. And so then he wants him to delete those fucking rules, which is one of the most aggressive comments that I would see coming from Creeper Jammy. I think based on the messages I've seen, these might be taking place from MJ Ninja's server, I don't know. But anyways, for the second screenshot, this is where we can see MJ Ninja in this site. And it all starts off with Creeper Jammy replying to MJ Ninja's message, which can be said that only because of Ninja's religion and him, and that if he were a little bit more like Jammy, they wouldn't give a single shit about being respectful. And that was a reply to MJ Ninja's message, which can be seen at the top, of MJ Ninja saying that they are choosing to be respectful around him. But after when Creeper Jammy replied to MJ Ninja's message, he puts out this message on a different language, which can be translated as, I don't know how to say this, but it's just plain terrible coming from him. But to finish off that screenshot, MJ Ninja started replying to Creeper Jammy's offensive message by saying, basically you are saying if I wasn't me, they would be more disrespectful. How the crap can I not be me? Dang, I kind of feel bad for him, not gonna lie. And I think the way how MJ Ninja says they are choosing to be respectful around him, I think he means the fact that the people who he knows are choosing to be much more nice with him. And I think the way how MJ Ninja said this could be something based on the rules that he might have said that is related to his religion, which I'm just assuming. But based on the first screenshot I saw of what Jammy was saying to MJ Ninja, I think maybe it could tell us about something. why he wants it deleted. So this is a bit of a concern right there. And to be fair, why I'm going to say this is not normal. It isn't. Literally not. But anyways, I'm just going to move on to the third and final screenshot so then we can get done with this message. So in this screenshot, we can see MJ Ninja replying to maybe Creeper Jammy's message. The thing is, we can't even see the top properly. But what we see right there is the words, believing your fake imaginary friend, which I think shows a bit of a signal of what's being said right there, given the fact that we've seen the previous screenshots of what Jammy said, which is not very good. And we were seriously disappointed by the fact that he's like that. But MJ Ninja replied to that message by saying, "You are the one literally telling us so many times that you have no friends and no life outside of your computer." Which, he's not wrong. Creeper Jammy does talk about that sometimes. And I've seen him, say that, anytime when I'm in a VC with him and with anyone. Which I did feel bad for him before when he was like this. But when looking at that screenshot, it kind of changed the whole perspective about him, to be honest. As what he said to MJ Ninja kind of tells it all. And he said that he has never actually said that. And I should trust him that he has probably more friends than Ninja. And then Aonoa started flexing that he has obviously a life. He then questioned him, "Did you even look at my status?" We can't even look at his status, by the way. It's just a screenshot. We don't even know what his status used to say back then. And he also says to Ninja that he didn't even notice his timeout. And that he would make him know that it's pathetic that the only way to shut him up is to time him out instead of proving his statements wrong. And seeing him saying something like this based on all the screenshots that I've seen, this is definitely not the CJ909 that I know for a lot. And yes, if you guys must have seen the dates of those messages, yes, they were from the 6th of November this year, which is literally over a month ago. Like what? And somehow no one else has even noticed it until now. However, thanks to MJ Ninja for telling us all about this, because this is a serious situation which needs to be discussed, and this is terrible if CJ actually does something like this. And I'm pretty sure MJ Ninja got in contact with Ducky to tell him all about this. So it's kind of good that the fact that this at least got out in a while, even if we didn't even know about this. But anyways, at the final messages we see for the announcement that Ducky made about Jammy, he says, "Here," based on the screenshots that he forwarded, which is about Jammy. And then after that says, "Just to know that the context behind these messages are really easy rules to follow, and MJ exposing him for hacking levels. And also he should have been banned long ago, but like a little fucking dumbass I let it pass." What did I say? Big motherfucker cheater, right? What's also was the fact that before, by the time when he was also a list mod, he decided to accept all my records that I've done for the TCL in just one day, which I gave him nothing but more dedication for him getting me to top 2 back then. And now seeing this guy as my ex-friend now, even including the fact the stuff that he has also did, is truly saddening now, and I don't think I can forgive him after this. But anyways, we can all thanks to Ducky and MG Ninja for letting us know about this, because these are serious major issues that we have never seen in the TCL before, and I'm glad that they are not unforgotten when they were out, because these are really recent and it had to be talked about. I'm surprised Ducky didn't even know that Jammy would be saying those things. Jammy could be, saying some dark humorous stuff as well. This is so, terrible. If he would be saying something like this privately, no one else would know about this. What kind of person would actually do something like that? It would be so terrible and crazy, and I wouldn't even appreciate if they would be doing something like this, even if someone would know if Jammy would be saying that kind of offensive language. But what if I told you that Ducky knew about Jammy's humor for a while? You see where I'm getting at? Now, this is the part, my friends, where Ducky loses his ownership rank of the list, of the Discord server, and absolutely everything. And that's where his last announcement of that server comes out. So these are the messages that he has sent 1 hour later. And he has said that he quit for good, and apologizes for being a dick, being a hypocrite, for lying, and also sorry to Folder for receiving the screenshot that he has got, the one where he got exposed at. But just later in this video, I'll show you all the logs. The thing is, he doesn't want anyone else messaging him about this stuff, and that he just doesn't want to own the server this big when he has this type of background to himself, and then admitted that he was a terrible owner for hiding that. He says sorry to everyone, especially to CCL staff members in the server for being a dirty hypocrite and for hiding something this big for this long. And he said that no one else in the server will ever be like the person he used to be, and the person who tries to avoid becoming again. He then ended off the announcements by saying, "Thank you for the good moments. I never deserved owning this list." Jeez. Well, that kind of sucks right there. But then the next day came here, and this actually pinged here, probably around like 1 a.m. to be honest. So then he can let anyone else in the server know about this post, what Ducky said about himself. And then Finny responding to that situation in the morning by saying, "Quick info. I didn't know about any of this with Ducky and CJ. It just came, so yeah, if people think I knew it, I didn't." And then pinged here for anyone else to see his message. Now, this is the part right there where you might be thinking, what did Ducky do? What did he actually say? Well, what you're about to see right there is very much more shocking. And that will give you the clear sense of why he decided to quit his role and mean all this kind of stuff, why you guys didn't know what he did or something. And this screenshot right there is the reasoning. So what you're looking at right there is Ducky saying some very not nice stuff, which, not gonna lie, I'm not actually talking about my voice. If you might be wondering what's happening with my voice or something, well, I've been gone for about like a few minutes, and then I don't know, when I came back, my voice is kind of like feeling a bit sore right now. If you all don't know, I'm not feeling so well, so sorry if I sound like this. I'm just gonna continue finishing this video off, and then I'll be done in no time. But anyways, back to that screenshot. So yes, what you're looking at right there is Ducky saying some not very nice stuff, which is him saying the M word with the hard R, swearing so much, but also saying a death threat too. And by looking at the date of those messages, it looks a bit mixed. So what I'm thinking is that it's the 15th of June this year, which was probably around like 6 months ago. They lost it for a long time, and no one else has actually seen that till now. I don't know, maybe Ducky was kind of like raging on, I guess, Minecraft or something, I don't know. And the fact that he said about Bone Blossom or something. Maybe his internet was kind of like bad and he's kind of like raging like this way. The thing is, he didn't even need to say something like this. So, I don't know, maybe he was kind of like mad in a much more dark, humorous way. And what I'm thinking right there is, maybe Jamie must have called Ducky out after when he got banned and called out by him. So I'm pretty sure he might have said that to Folded, and I think Folded must have showed Ducky these kinds of DMs of what Ducky said, which was kind of a big of a betrayal coming from Jamie, to be honest. But he thought what he did was actually a bit right. Well, he's not wrong. He did what's right, which we were disappointed by Ducky actually saying that, because otherwise we won't even know what he's like behind the scenes. But the thing is, he cannot deny about the actions what he also did, which is to hate on one religion and also cheating in levels, which is something he cannot actually get away with this. It's still wrong, and he couldn't find a way to actually get away with this. Neither apologize as well, which is why I'm pretty sure when Ducky was in chat with Folded and Jamie, but the part where he's arguing with one friend while hating on a religion for a bit, that right there is also behind the scenes but worse. The thing is, good that Ducky actually made an announcement about it, but he can't also hide about what he also did as well, similar what Jamie did. But the thing is, he wasn't the only one saying this. I'm pretty sure Ducky's trying to admit that he's not the only one doing this, because Jamie also did the same thing as what Ducky did. So, yeah, based on that screenshot you see right there, that's not the only message that Jamie said. There's more than that. And more. And more. Yeah. So, Jamie said a lot of the hard R's. And the thing is, Ducky showed me that as well when I was on call with him one time. I'm pretty sure he might have showed this to Ford as well. Well, I think with Jamie as well. However, I think things didn't work out so well. And yes, just like what I said of like a few minutes ago, I'm pretty sure Ducky might have knew what Jamie was like. Because the thing is, Ducky could have at least known about this by now. But I don't think he would. Because maybe he knows that Jamie would do the same thing as well. Because he knew what Ducky was like back then as well. But he only showed the religion part of what Jamie said. So I guess still, if exposing Jamie, he can at least expose what Ducky really has done. Because he knows that he has the screenshot and he can at least show anyone what he was like back then. There's no hiding also what Jamie also did back then. So, they both got a dark humor, to be honest. However, when I was on call with Ducky, that time when he was showing me the screenshots, he was like sobbing. He was like depressed. And he was like that he messed up and everything. And I instantly regret what he said like a while ago. He was like, oh, I should have at least said that. It was all my fault. All that kind of stuff. And at this point, I kind of felt bad for him. However, there's a reasoning why he was also like that. And he said about this on call with me privately. And it was all because of someone being close to him, having that kind of same dark humor as what Ducky did. And I think Ducky must have learnt that from that person. It's kind of dark humor jokes sometimes, or maybe just raging as in dark humor, which is something that can ruin anyone else's reputation if they were like this back then. Or if they were maybe misunderstood at that kind of point. So maybe that was the only reasoning why he actually did something like that. But the thing is,
I know Ducky doesn't even act like what Jammy does. Hating on one religion, cheating on levels. Heck, he didn't even do something like that. And I'm pretty sure Jammy is laughing about this right now, behind the scenes, after doing all that stuff. I could really imagine. Because the way how I see it, this whole thing was like a ship sinking. One captain goes at the other for doing something wrong, and that part might be justified. But then the other captain fires back and exposes him too, because neither of them were actually clean. At that point, the ship isn't sinking because the truth came out. It's sinking because both people in charge handle it badly. Instead of fixing the problem, it turned into blame, defensiveness, and people trying to protect themselves. When leadership fails on both sides, the ship goes down with everyone still on. And that's what this felt like. And you might be thinking, what is the summary behind this metaphor? Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, it's not only one captain that goes down with the ship, but also another that goes down with him. And so there they are gone, leaving them exposed. And that's how I saw between Ducky and Jammy falling down like this. So the thing is that I do not have in contact with Jammy. However, I'm still in contact with Ducky for a reasoning, because he was weighed down after all this stuff happened. But when I was on call with him, I didn't went mad over what he has done. However, I was disappointed the fact that he would say something like this. But he was truly sorry of everything like that. And then after that, I told him if he should go and talk to his parents or something like this, and maybe play board games with them in the meantime, see if this can make him happy or something like this. And I'll tell him that I'll deal with the situation, probably like later. But right now, looking forward what just really happened, and to compare Jammy and Ducky, as in like an analysis, I think Jammy has did the worst more far than Ducky. Because Ducky wouldn't be hating on one religion, and would also cheat on other levels. He wouldn't get mad over something like this, or be much more ableist at anyone. Yes, he said some racist stuff, but he put up a reason. He gave me a reasoning on call why he did this. And it's because someone was close to him that made him put up this dark humor inside of his mind. And he was so depressed so hard, he knew what he did was very much more wrong. And he has suffered everything in life. He has vented me multiple times of any situation, what has happened to him, another and another and another. I felt so bad for him. And everyone else who's friends with him actually knows that. And looking at Jammy, like, did you all see that third screenshot I showed you guys like a few minutes in that video? Where Jammy was ridiculously talking to MJ Ninja, admitting that he has a life and has friends, and not trying to admit that he has never said something like this? That right there is way egotistical. And it just shows how much he's trying to flex his own life at one person without actually admitting that they are having an almost similar issue to what Ducky is having. And seeing the worst logs that Jammy has made based on racism and ableism, those definitely remind me of Nucleus's personality. The way he talks to people, the way he swears at them, stuff like that. It's literally baloney, and I dislike that. The thing is that I have no idea why Jammy would also act like this. But I think it's because of that Call of Duty attitude. Because I remember that he plays Call of Duty all the time. So I guess him saying something like this kind of did not age well a lot, to be honest. But I'm pretty sure Ducky has never played Call of Duty. I've never seen him play it once. I saw Jammy play all the time, but not Ducky. Nor even any one instance ever. But even if Ducky would, then he would be even more racist-minded, which would not be very good at this point. But then you also might be thinking, why we're just going to allow Ducky come back to our list, then just leaving Jammy behind and absolutely abandoning him for anything what he has done too. And this is the part where I'm just going to reveal something that I literally forgot to tell you guys at almost a few minutes ago. And I could have at least responded to that. So the thing is, and I could have at least revealed that like earlier, but the thing is I'm just going to reveal right here since I forgot about it. And trust me, it will change your whole POV about Jammy when I reveal another proof of what he has done wrong for the list. So yeah, based on the screenshot what you see right here, yes, it is actually real. And I'm just going to rewind that kind of thing at the start of what just happened and why that exists. So if you all didn't know, that was at the time when I was still demodded and kicked out of the list for actually arguing with Creeper Jammy and Ducky for many more reasonings, and basically more drama has actually caused so much. Eventually, Creeper Chami thought of making a challenge list connected to the TCL and decided to make it as TWCL, because if you all didn't know, TCL used to be TWCL, and the URL still stayed as Tiny Wave Challenge List, while currently being remained as Tiny Wave Challenge List. And since the URL link of our list has not changed for a long time, Creeper Chami thought of that idea anyways to make another list out of that by making another website, a different URL link, and that's what happened. Just a list with only one game mode, which is the wave, still keeping the level's length as under 10 seconds, and no other different game modes. That's what he decided to do. Put all levels from the TCL that are just wave challenges only and not containing different portals like based off game modes and Geometry Dash. That's all he did. He did this all by his own without any list admin, list helper, trial list helper, and list coder. Just only him in that list, the only list editor there. Everyone knew about that, and they know that he did a great job for that. But that's when a few days gone by, and then that's where that time Jammy gets exposed. And ever since when we banned him, he decided to change that website's name from TWCL to CJCL, also known as the Creeper Jammy Challenge List. He kept the URL link, which is way much more similar to our URL link of our list, not even caring to change that after naming the website name as Creeper Jammy Challenge List. He took off every of the other levels that were from the TCL and kept his ones in there only. And if you look at the top left corner of this proof screenshot, you can clearly see that the list name for short says CJCL. The way how I saw this felt like that they're trying to steal our list. And this felt like a slight act of plagiarism. And this is not good. Not very good coming from him. He knew what he was doing, and he's trying to copy out of what we did for our list, trying to make it his own list on the other side. There's also an easy way to remove the URL link and removing the website at the same exact time, and that's only if you own that site that's across around the internet. He knows that it's not hard to do that. He can figure it out on his own by searching up a tutorial for that, but he decided to keep it up for many more weeks now and leave it as that. And, just seeing this just definitely angers me the most. Seeing people exist like this around the world is just absolutely terrible. Absolutely unacceptable as well. And no, I'm not going to reveal that URL link of what Jammy has created, his own challenge list. I'm not going to reveal that in here. Never. The thing is, this guy decided to bring out the amount of effort he has done for the list and decided to change it after when we banned him, still not even owning up to his actions, but not managing to delete that site and then rebranding it, making it his. This guy actually has an evil thought, and I do not like that coming from him. This is something that will actually be forgotten for a very long time because it is not good, unappreciative, and I do not like if someone else would do something like this to our list. What I've seen everything based on what Jammy did really disgusted me. And I think it's much more worse than what Ducky did. And I think Ducky deserves a second chance because he's the owner of TCL. And not just only that, he has suffered through everything else more than just being an owner. But the thing is, he needs to make up his mind whether he wants to come back or not. It is up to him, but we're not just going to force him to let him be back as ownership with Finny, because anyone can take their own time whenever they want to come back or not. And hoping that no one mentions about the situation that Ducky did ever again. But I'm just hoping that he does not do that same thing ever again and be much more just like Jammy. Because here's one reasoning and meaning of why dark humor can be so bad, why we forbid that, and how it could ruin anyone else's lives. The thing about it is, when someone makes jokes about serious, sensitive, or dangerous topics, often to shock, cope, or get attention. Some people use it as a defense mechanism, or because they think it makes them seem detached, edgy, or mature. The problem is that intent doesn't equal impact. A joke meant to be quote-unquote harmless can still hurt, humiliate, or re-traumatize someone, especially when power dynamics, age gaps, or public spaces are involved. Why dark humor becomes harmful in communities is because it crosses a line when it involves real people, not abstract ideas. It targets or references minors and set by someone in a position of authority. It would happen in a public space where others didn't consent to it. And in those cases, it stops being humor and becomes normalization of harm. Even if someone laughs, it sets a precedent that those topics are acceptable to joke about. And that silence or discomfort doesn't matter. And the reason why we forbid it is that we don't forbid dark humor because we want to control speech or quote unquote kill fun. We forbid it because it creates unsafe environments. People would stop speak up when they feel like they'll be joked about instead of protected. It blurs boundaries. And especially with minors, joking about sensitive topics erodes the line between what's acceptable and what isn't. It protects the wrong people. And when harmful jokes are excused, accountability disappears and bad behavior gets minimized. Rules exist to prevent harm before it escalates, not after damage is already done. And how this humor can ruin lives. This isn't exaggeration. Dark humor can get people banned, removed, or publicly exposed. Permanently damage reputation and trust, turn private mistakes into public controversies, cause real emotional harm that doesn't go away when the joke ends. Most people don't lose everything because they're evil. They lose it because they didn't take boundaries seriously when they had the chance. And the truth is, dark humor isn't quote unquote just jokes when someone else didn't consent but felt targeted and was harmed. And at this point, it's not humor. It's literally a failure of judgment. And in leadership or moderation, judgment matters more than intent. And that's why we don't joke further with dark humor. And because we are a moderation team, we need to abide the rules that we made. Because it's all to do with having a community, making friends, having a heart, respecting anyone, being independent. This stuff is important for our health, our mental health, and more just that. And I hope that next year goes great, because this list has just started months ago this year, and this year should not end with something that bad. We need to bring back memories and bring back the time when we spend time together, and most of that. And I'm hoping that this drama doesn't come over repetitively, because if it does, it will escalate things by starting with way slower to faster. And it'll be just like that a hill is forming. A higher hill, higher than Mount Everest. And this is something that we do not want to happen. And I hope, just based on the title of this video, the future of TCL, I hope and promise myself that everything else will go great. We will make the best of this year and make it not a bad situation anytime. We are just hoping that nothing like this could happen again. And if you did watch this video all the way through, listening to my words, thank you for understanding. I spent a long time talking about this, including the situation and explaining everything else, what has happened in the past, and also what I did. The thing is that I've been mostly active on doing estimations and planning placements, which was kind of like the best thing I ever do in my whole life of Geometry Dash, to be honest. So yeah, kind of happy doing that as well, but not when I see a drama as well in that list and the server. The main goal of this video is to talk about the situation of what I've seen and what has happened, with the purpose of literally trying to fix things, solve problems, and most of that. So the thing is, later we're going to talk to Ducky about the situation of what he has done, discuss with it. I think I'm going to be in there as well, including with all moderators. And I hope that we get this sorted out, and hopefully that none of this stuff comes out ever again in the future, because it stresses way more people out, the people who are part of this community and everything like that. And I don't want anything else anything else in my life to go that much far, or like having this dark humor stuff being repeated again, because it is not good and it's unhealthy for everyone out there. And for the future of TCO that we were thinking about, we're gonna make this list great and not make this much more stupid by just removing levels for minimal reasonings, because we are leveling up our standards of the placements. Some get removed because of it being consistently paced. Some get removed if they were involved with a drama, if they did something wrong or something like that. Some get removed if, someone personally requests it getting removed, even though it's not even that deep. It's just what's coming from them. And more of like that. And I know it's too much. Seriously too much. The thing is, we'll accept your levels much more properly, estimate them properly, and not have to like deal with this mess of discussions based off arguments and debates or anything else based off what's going on with the list. We'll make sure none of this happens ever again, and we'll do this for the best of you guys. I would also like to remind you all that this is the new owner, well, not actual owner, but backup owner of this list now. We're doing everything else great, rebranding things, and handling everything perfectly, ever since when Ducky has gone. Special dedication and shout out to him for doing the most out of this list recently, and for backing things up. One extra thing I do got to say is that he's a very good scripter, and that he decided to make the whole levels packs category for the list. It's the best thing that we had for this list in a while, and everyone else is enjoying getting the roles by finishing all the packs. Without him, nothing in this list could turn out the same. But anyways, that's all I gotta say for this video. If you made this far all the way to the end, thank you for watching, and leave your thoughts down in the comments of what do you think of this video, and we'll maybe answer your questions if it doesn't look that way negative. We appreciate everyone else for supporting us and giving us the motivation of work to keep this list up alive. The Tiny Challenge List, aka TCL, formerly TWCL, aka Tiny Wave Challenge List. And second of all, I am very so much sorry about my voice. And trust me, I am not upset or anything. I am very much more calm and very much more happy to get this video done. The thing is, my voice is a bit more lost. And again, I'm feeling not well. And I've spent most of my time trying to get this video done, just to let you all hear it, about the future of our list. This list will cherish upon memories, generations, and for the game that I love the most, Geometry Dash. And I hope this will be in the history that we will all remember for a long time in our lives. And to every one of our members who've been in the list for a long time, we would all like to say thank you for several months.